Hey guys, Austin from Suited Aroma here. Here are the 7 most popular fragrance brands for men, and I'm going to review their top fragrances from each brand. First up, we'll start with an easy one. Dior Savage EDP starts with citruses, subtle pink pepper. As it develops, there are some lavender nuances, but the scent is mostly about a heavy dose of ambroxan. Into the base, it is ambroxan dominated with musky nuances. Their performance is there as well, 8 to 10 hours in the skin with above average projection. It pushes out an arm's length or more for the first 3 to 4 hours. It recedes after this period but still maintains a 2-foot ambiance. You really don't have to worry about the performance with this fragrance. And the same can be said for the versatility. This is the Blue Beast, so it is great for all seasons, all occasions. Moderate your sprays in the summer as it can get too intense, but that's about the only hindrance you have for versatility. There are so many great Dior fragrances out there, but this is by far the best as it is so well-rounded, high quality, and it is mega popular for getting so many compliments. There are a few other Sauvage versions, but this is the best middle ground between too loud and too light and too mature. This is the fragrance you want if you're looking for a Dior fragrance. This one wasn't much harder either. Bleu de Chanel EDP. This starts with citruses, mint, and subtle pink pepper. There is a woody backbone, pretty prevalent right from the get-go. And as the scent develops, it just becomes more and more about this woody backbone. The freshness from before lingers down, and for the rest of the wear, you just have fresh woods. I get 8 to 10 hours on the skin. With decent projection, it pushes out up to 3 feet for the first 2 to 3 hours, and then it recedes but still maintains a 1 to 2 foot ambiance for the rest of the wear. This is a little bit of a lighter blue fragrance, but still mega versatile. So this can be worn for all seasons and all occasions. You don't even have to moderate your sprays, as 4 to 5 sprays of this is going to be good for any season or any occasion. Again, there are many great Chanel fragrances out there, especially the Laurent Home line, but Bleu de Chanel by far outshines them for its popularity and its well-blended nature. Even when I get picky in my full review, I try to pick out every specific note in fragrances like these, but it is so hard with Bleu de Chanel fragrances as they are so well blended. Might as well just knock off all the popular fragrances right off the bat. So YSL EDP is next. This is the most popular from Yves Saint Laurent. It starts with very fresh aromatics and then dries down to woods, always maintaining those fresh woods. It is not like Bleu de Chanel where that's a little bit deeper and darker and seductive. This is a bit brighter and more wearable. As for performance, 8 to 10 hours on the skin with above average projection. First 2 to 3 hours, this pushes out an arm's length or more, and then it recedes but still maintains a 2-foot ambiance. It's pretty similar to Dior Savage. It just doesn't push out as long at its peak. As for seasons and occasions, great blue fragrance, so all seasons, all occasions, you don't have to moderate your sprays. And again, there are so many great YSL fragrances, but this is just so well blended and so popular that it fits so many men's collections because you can just pick this up out of your shelf, spray this on, and you're good to go. You don't even have to think twice about what you're wearing. Next up, I bet you didn't think I would include this one, Parfums de Marley, and this one happens to be Leighton. This is by far the most popular fragrance from their brand. This starts with a fruity sweetness, and there's a soapy and cleanliness to the opening. And then as we get into the mid, a warm vanilla tidal wave just washes over the entire scent with some cardamom spice that lingers in the background. As we head into the base, the cardamom spice becomes more prevalent and just has an alluring and invigorating touch that just attracts a bunch of attention. This vanilla note from before is still present, and these both sit on top of a creamy sandalwood backbone. The performance, great as well, 8 to 10 hours on the skin with excellent projection. This will fill a room. This is by far the best projector that I have covered so far. It recedes after about 5 to 6 hours, but definitely never becomes a skin scent. And as for seasons and occasions, this is exclusively cooler weather because it does have significant depth, so late fall, winter, and early spring, but it can be worn for any situation. I know big projectors like this aren't necessarily the best for office and other close quarter settings, but this is so quality and well blended that it doesn't seem to ever overwhelm anybody. This isn't particularly my favorite Parfums de Marley, but it is one of the best and definitely the most popular. Brand Armani Equity Geo. This is one of the best sellers for men. This opens with fresh citruses, fresh aromatics, and a salty marine backbone. These citruses are going to fade as the wear continues, and it's going to become more and more about the fresh aromatics. But the overarching emphasis here is a very fresh fragrance. There are still salty marine accords as the wear continues, but these are going to gradually fade as we get into the base, where it becomes all about fresh aromatics with musk nuances. For the rest of the wear, fresh aromatics and musk nuances. The performance is okay, 6 to 7 hours, but it's what you'd expect from a fresh and aromatic dominant fragrance. The projection is light. It'll push out about 2 feet, up to 3 feet if you do over apply, and then it recedes to about a 1 foot ambiance for the rest of the wear. As for seasons and occasions, exclusively spring and summer. I know some guys will say, oh, you can wear it in the fall and winter as a signature scent, but I don't recommend that, as even if you apply heavier, you're just losing your sprays and just wasting money. It's not worth it. Buy a fragrance like Dolce Gabbana, the 1 EDP, and that'll last you in the fall and winter, and this can be the spring and summer. And lastly, occasions. So all. This is great from Armani because it is so popular and it is just extremely easy to wear. Second to last, Tom Ford Ombre Leather. So this is a great masculine fragrance. It is mostly about leather. There's some light white floral nuances in the opening and some subtle cardamom spice, but the fragrance is so well blended that you can't really pick them out, and they only last a few minutes before they give way to this heavy dose of leather. Into the base, there are some oak moss nuances, but again, extremely heavy on the leather accord. The performance, 8 to 9 hours on the skin with moderate projection. This has a dense and intense projection for the first 3 hours, pushes out 2 to 3 feet, and then it recedes and maintains like a 1 to 2 foot ambiance that is just so intense and really just grabs attention. Seasons and occasions, it's surprisingly versatile. So spring, fall, and winter, I don't recommend wearing this in the summer as it will get too intense, but you don't have to moderate your sprays in the winter because this is a dense and heavy scent. And occasions, all. Do moderate your sprays in close quarter settings because it can become intense, but other than that, a very wearable fragrance. I love this Tom Ford fragrance because it is one of the most affordable from the brand, but still maintains that Tom Ford quality. Lastly, I accidentally gave this one in the Equity Geo mini review, Dolce Gabbana, the 1 EDP. This is a great fragrance. It starts with spicy, zingy, and invigorating ginger, and then it leads you into a warm, rich, and intense amber and tobacco duo. And this is what you get for the rest of the wear, just these amber and tobacco with spicy nuances that really just keep your attention. The performance, 6 to 7 hours with intimate projection. I know the intimate projection might not be the best for some of you, but it is what it is meant for. This is a date night fragrance when you want this fragrance to be experienced and not announced. It can be worn for all other occasions as it is subtle enough, but this does shine on a date night or a formal situation. As for seasons, fall and winter, even though it is light, it still gets too intense if you get too much heat on it. I love this Dolce & Gabbana fragrance because it is affordable. About $60 for a 100 milliliter bottle, but it still maintains a high designer value. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.